Good afternoon to everyone. Wish you all happy Independence
Hi,
Day.
Gopi. Happy Independence Day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Happy Independence Day.
Respected Chief Guest Shri Pulela Gopichand ji and Guest of Honor Shri Prabhakar Rao ji are with us. It's truly a proud moment for the entire Sapphire family. Pulela sir and Prabhakar Rao ji, on behalf of Sapphire family, I thank you for taking out time for us. I would like to welcome the guest of honor, Prabhakar Rao ji. Prabhakar Rao ji is the chairman of Para Badminton and coordinator of All World Gayatri Parivar. He is also the joint secretary of Badminton Association of India. So thank you for taking out time for us.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Amit ji and Mr. Prabhakar Rao Garu, my good friend and colleague in badminton, and to all of the students, faculty, and parents present. First of all, a very happy Independence Day to all of you. To all of the Sapphire family, I think it's really a pleasure for me to be here and talk to all of you. I will share some of my thoughts, my own journey, and we could take it up from there. I started playing as my biodata, I think Debangi had mentioned. Went in with initial interest to join for cricket, but I don't know whether it's fortunate, unfortunate. Cricket admissions were full, so I went and joined the available sport, which was badminton. Badminton wasn't a very popular sport in Andhra at that time, in Hyderabad at that point of time. We didn't have many national champions. So for me, as a player, it took me years to go from state to national to international. At every step, I realized that with a little bit more of hard work, I can achieve the next level. It didn't happen so easily because the initial years were tough. I had to manage academics and badminton, which was tough. And also, as time went, we didn't also have the facilities which were required to actually achieve things at the highest level in the world. But God's been kind. At every step, He helped me. During my journey in the international level, I had encountered a lot of challenges, and some of them being that I had a knee surgery in 1994, in 1996, in 1998, in three consecutive times I had an injury on my left knee, and in 2002 I had another injury on my right knee, and which needed another surgery. So after which I had to retire. But more importantly in my journey, I learned a few things and I would love to share it with you. As youth, as young kids, all of you are living with a tremendous possibility. I think that would be very important to recognize. In my journey, I realized a few things which I would love to share. One was in my life, even today, people talk about me and they talk about hard work, discipline, determination, sacrifice. But truly, in my entire journey, I've loved what I've done. And that meant that these words of hard work, discipline, and dedication, which look as very dry words, were replaced by things which I love, which I'm involved with, and things which I like to do, and things which make me feel energized and challenging to do. And that for me was the biggest thing. So as young kids, if you are on a path because from the day I started playing badminton to now, it's almost 35 years from 1985. And it's only been possible for me to keep pushing myself because of the love for my sport. And that is what is important as young kids. It is to recognize that if you love what you do, then the words hard work, discipline, determination won't come up as much as dry words, but they will come up to you as pleasant things because you like what you want to do. I think that would be something which would be very, very important for all of you. The second thing, which I think was critical in my journey, and as young kids, it is very important. There's a lot of urge, there's a lot of inner, or even younger, we have this desire to enjoy. And I would say that the more we delay our enjoyment, the more fruitful our life would be. If you live in a farm, which I am doing at the moment, you realize that when a tree comes to fruit in the early years, 1, 2, the farmers will not take the fruit. They will cut the buds because they will want the tree to wait for a couple of years till the stem gets bigger and the branches get bigger so that the fruits get bigger and juicier and sweeter. In a similar way, if you as kids start to enjoy life early, then it would mean that in your life, all the fruits which you will bear will be small and sweetless. So I would urge all of you to spend a lot more time investing in youth, to learn new things, to be attentive, and to challenge yourself to do better and bigger things. And the more often or the more time in your life you do it, the bigger the fruits of your life will be. So don't enjoy or think of enjoyment at 16, 17, 18 and say that I want to enjoy now. You will get enough time in your life to enjoy. This is the time to invest in whatever you're doing. The more energy and attention you pay to your goal, the better you will be. The other thing for me, which I've learned, and I've learned the hard way in my life, was that every time I had a goal, I was thinking about winning a tournament or playing a particular tournament, I would get injured and then my goal would go for a toss. It happened repeatedly many times. Till at a point of time I realized that this whole objective of goal setting and thinking about goals and saying that I will become a champion or I think it didn't make sense, at least to me. What made sense was every day to get up in the morning and do the best of what you can. And perfection was not the goal, progress was the goal. And to keep enjoying each moment of your progress, to look forward to each moment of your progress was the key to whatever I've achieved. I've had many failures in my life, and success, you must have heard this, the saying that success is a ladder which goes from failure to failure. And in reality, there is nothing like failure if you learn from it. To be able to learn from your failures and to keep being enthusiastic in a childlike manner towards failure is something which is very, very important. To let go of failure and to try the next time again with the same kind of enthusiasm is what would be very important. To learn from those mistakes and to want to try bettering yourself immediately is what makes. So I think it would be very important that as kids, you have a tremendous opportunity to do great things in life, but also realize that many of them can get busy doing nothing. We can be on the phone for hours, one YouTube after YouTube, or one Netflix after Netflix, one game after game can actually make us very busy doing nothing. That is something we need to kind of refrain from doing, because at the end of the day, it is important to invest in what you think is your goal for life and be clear of what you want to do, and because of that, what you're not supposed to do. You will make mistakes every time you go to the fridge, you want to open up and eat something which you're not supposed to. You be on the computer or on the laptop or on your phone and want to watch something which you're not supposed to, or you're spending time talking to friends and just gossiping where you could do better investments about that time. You will make those mistakes, but shake them off and get back as though it is a new beginning. I think to go from mistake to mistake, correcting yourself, and to go and in a direction which is progressive with how much ever small steps there are is very, very critical. In my career as a player, I learned a lot of things from my coaches. My first coach was Hamid Hussain sir. He taught me how to love the sport. My second coach was Arif sir. He taught me about discipline and hard work. Then I trained with Prakash sir, Prakash Padukone. He was somebody who achieved something at the highest level in the world, and he showed and made us believe what we can be in the future. And my fourth coach was Ganguly Prasad, who was like a friend who plotted, and we managed to plot things together against the biggest opposition. I learned so much of them from my coaches, from my two Chinese coaches, both of them, and it was unbelievable that after so much, so many things, I think for me, it is very, very important that at the end of my career, I kind of learned a lot of things from my coaches and also from trial and error. By the end of my career, I learned and knew the formula which I thought was important for me, which I thought would be good to win against the best in the world. And then I didn't have the body to use it, unfortunately. So I took a bunch of kids and started coaching in the year 2003 and officially in the year 2004. The oldest of that group was Parupalli Kashyap, who was about 16. And the youngest of the group was Sindhu, who was 9. In that group, we had players like Saina, like Sai Praneeth, like Guru Sai Dutt, like Sumit Reddy, Sikki Reddy, and all of them were from that batch of 20. So all I would say is, if you really believe in what you want, if you put enough time and energies into it, there are great things possible. So as children, you're living with this tremendous possibility. And I would urge each one of you to take this seriously and start investing in something which you want to achieve. You will get enough time to enjoy in life. Don't have to do all of it now. Think of it as a postponement for the future, where this time will really help you to build yourself stronger. I wish all of you all the very best, and to the entire faculty and Prabhakar Rao Garu, thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm happy to be here. To the principal, Mr. Amit, I think it's been nice interacting with you. And yeah, if you want, I can take a few questions.
Sir, thank you, sir. We will have now the questions from the students. So the first one is coming from Shreyansh.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. So, which is your memorable match and why?
For many of us who've seen, who are in badminton, I think the All England would be the most important, most famous, most memorable thing which people relate to from a memory perspective. But from a win perspective, from a country perspective, I think our qualifying for the Thomas Cup finals was a very memorable one. Our win at the Commonwealth Games to win a first silver was something which was very memorable. So these two were very important. For me personally, from a happiness perspective, my school tournament, which I won many years ago, was one of the biggest victories for me.
Thank you. Thank you, Shreyansh. Ali?
Yes, sir. I'm Ali Abraham, and I'm going to ask a question, which is, how do you react when your disciple loses almost a winning match?
I think the initial years, I personally would feel very disappointed. Of course, over time, that thing has gone better. But for me, there is a certain sense of disappointment to ensure that the kids are really motivated. So I try to keep my spirit up because I don't want myself to be disappointed, so that these kids are disappointed also.
Thank you, sir. Now, if any of the parents want to ask a question, any of the parents have taken out their time to be with us. Thank you, parents. If any one of you would like to ask question to Pulela, sir.
I am Maulik Tejas.
Yes,
Can I ask you a question from sir?
Go ahead, Maulik.
Sir, why do you like badminton and have you left badminton or you are playing badminton?
I don't know why I love badminton. I think that's a very cute question. But whenever I play badminton, I feel very happy. I continue to play, and I also wish I can play longer, because what makes me happy is the fact that I'm able to spend time on court playing, and that is what gives me the biggest happiness.
Naveen Singh.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm Naveen Singh. Sir, I can ask one question to you.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, when you have got many injuries, do you thought that you can play again now badminton?
I knew nothing else other than playing badminton. And I was very unhappy that I was injured and I couldn't play for the next few days. But never did I doubt whether I'll ever be able to play. I knew that if I rested, if I strengthened things, I would get back and play. So I trusted in my doctor. I had a great support from my family and friends, and I believed in God's help and grace and blessings, and I was able to kind of come out of it. But I never doubted whether I'll be able to come or not. I knew that it'll take time, but I was not going to give up till I was coming back on court. That's what my idea was.
Thank you. Mahi,
My question is, who has supported to you play badminton?
My mother really supported me when she would wake me up, give me a glass of milk, and I would go to the stadium at 5:30 in the morning. Then before I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I would have to study for 1 hour. Then at 5:30 in the morning, my mother would keep my bag ready. Then I go to the stadium, and then at 7:45 I would come back. She would keep breakfast and my bag ready. So I eat breakfast quickly and go to the school, and then come back in the evening at 3:45 from school, and by 4 o'clock I would go to the stadium again, and she would keep my food and bag ready all the time. So my mother really helped and supported me. My brother, my sister, everybody helped me. But I also love to play. So I did nothing else. We would watch only television 15 minutes per set is typically when I get into the court, which is मैं इस opponent को छोड़ूंगा नहीं, और मुझे मौका थोड़ा सा भी मिले तो मैं जीत के बाहर आऊंगा. And that's typically the attitude which I would have when I get on court.
thank you. Now, Devnath sir, one of the parents wish to ask a question. Yes, sir.
Ethan, thank you for making it happen. A very happy Independence Day to you. And congratulations for all the laurels that you have attained and continuously churning out champions out of your academy. That's greatly appreciated. Now, I know that while all students and children would not be a player, but they would definitely be successful in their life. Failure and success is pretty much built in everybody. But however, it's the drive within to win is success. But failure is built in again, a feature in all people if they don't try. So my question to you is, for students especially, how to learn from failure and what steps one should undertake that they don't repeat such failures. This question number one. And the second question and the last question that from my end is, if the circumstances are totally unfavorable, how to fail honorably? If you may answer so that, children can learn and kind of a negative impact we find in the society when people fail or get very less mark and obstacles that they take, that should not happen. Would really be appreciated since you are one of the person who has learned hard way and you have always learned from your mistakes. Thank you, Mr. Gopichan.
Thank you. I think for all of us who talk about success and failure, I think it would be good to understand these words. For the longest period of time, I would think and believe when I look at kids and a bunch of them, to think and say that is this kid talented? And that's the mindset which I would look for and say, is the kid strong enough? Is he pushing enough? Is he going to succeed? And that's how I would keep looking at it. But there was a certain incident which happened in 2015 which changed my very perception of what and how things would be. And today, after that incident, it was a small incident where a girl whom I was coaching couldn't catch a shuttle. And I was a bit annoyed because I thought it was lack of attention. But she dropped a couple of shuttles and then she comes up to me after the session to ask me, "Sir, teach me how to catch." So that very question changed a lot of things in my mind, because what we perceive as success and failure and well done are things which we might need to relook at. So when I look at kids, I'm thinking, and this probably could be true for all of us who are adults, that when we look at kids and when we look at people in our team, instead of asking the question, is the kid talented? I think it would be genuinely important to believe that the kid is talented. And the word talent identification should be moved with the word talent mapping. And then the focus moves from the person to ourselves, because then it becomes our duty to ensure that we place the kid where his talent or her talent is. I think that would be very, very important. So when you make this kind of distinction, then I think success and failure is just a matter of process. And success and failure are only paths of an outsider's view of a process. From your own perspective, you only are learning what the mistakes are and moving ahead to better yourself. And each time you fail, you actually learn more than whether if you win. So I think you look at success very differently when you look at this as a process and not as a goal. And that would be very, very important. So for me, I think the word talent identification, to move from that and to say that my kid is talented, my students are talented, I need to find out where and their talent is, I think is the right way forward for us as a generation.
Thank you, sir. We will take two more questions. Tuhin.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Do you ever regret that when you were growing up, starting to learn badminton, that you were not having those kits that today Indian players have, and that this may have harmed your preparation for tournament?
I'm very happy with whatever I've achieved as an athlete. I feel extremely happy in my entire journey. And it might sound strange, but I do not regret any moment. And I just thank God every day that He gave me an opportunity to be a player and to be a coach today, because I don't think I would have loved anything more than the sport. And I just feel very blessed to be part of it. So this question comes up as a question today, but in those circumstances, I was happy with what I had. And I think that today, when kids get it, I'm happy that they should get even more, because they're competing at the highest level in the world. But back then, I don't really compare those things, but I was really happy all my life. So I was a happy kid playing. I was a happy person competing, and I'm a coach who's happy with the things. So more or less in my life, it's been mostly pleasant, or all the time pleasant. I think even my injuries, I remember them even then. I had my moments of laughter even minutes after those injuries. And after the big disappointments also, the loss would be only for a moment, and I would just move on quickly.
Thank you, sir. So the last question I will be putting it, sir. You rightly said that you need to sacrifice instant gratification. Sir, I have heard in one of the interviews from PV Sindhu, where she said that you took away her mobile phone for more than a month before getting into the practice sessions, preparing for the Olympics. And today's generation, we want everything, within seconds. And so, can you slightly elaborate on that so that our students learn to prioritize things?
I know, for me, the this was about 4 months before the previous Olympics, that I took away Sindhu's phone and I only gave it to her after the match, the finals in Rio. So for me, it's not about the phone, but to be constantly reminded of your goal at all times is what is critical. It's not that if you decide to be an athlete or a musician or a dancer or a painter or an engineer or a doctor or a civil servant, I think the amount of time you spent studying the sport is fine, or studying your subject is fine. But actually, the amount of time outside of it is also important. To keep reminding yourself of your goal is what is critical. Every time you feel like eating something and you say, no, I won't do this because it is against my goal. Every time you open the laptop and you want to watch a movie or you want to go out for a party or to a mall and you say, I won't do it because of my goal, I think each of those moments strengthens your desire for achieving something bigger in life. The amount of drops of those sacrifices, that hard work, is what decides whether you'll be successful or not. So the attention and detail and the energy which you give to your goal is what is critical. And that would be the most important thing for us to decide whether we are successful or not. As an athlete, we have to do so many things. But even if you're not an athlete, whatever you do, I think to aspire to be the best of what you can be, not anybody else. The best of what you can be is very, very important. As Abhinav Bindra has said, the Olympics doesn't come every 4 years. It comes every day. And that is the bottom line. To work with a mission and goal that every day I want to be the best of who I can be and move on. I think that would be very, very critical. There are many parents here, there are many teachers here, students here, and I would share one thing with the permission of Mr. Amit. For the longest period of time, for us, literacy, we've grown in our country. If alphabets, words, sentences was alphabetical literacy, and if numbers, additions, subtractions, multiplications in some sequence was numerical literacy, and if crawling, walking, running, throwing, jumping, diving was physical literacy, then as a country in the last 30 years, we have grown alphabetically and numerically. But it would be fair to say that we have gone down physically. I think it's very important as a nation to start being more physically literate. And many of you would be thinking, why is Gopichand talking about sport? We're not professional sports persons, or we don't intend to, or we may not take sports as a career. But think of it, something so simple as going down and playing, which we think is waste of time. Think of the uses of it. Imagine a kid goes down to the apartment, or a PE class is saying you go and play by yourself. These are those recess times between lunch breaks. After lunch, you get 20 minutes to play. See what kids do. They get together, they decide to play a particular game, they divide them into two leaders, they make rules, they follow the leaders and play the sport. Just think of it. Nobody teaches or nobody has taught us as parents to play marbles or to play football or cricket. We learned by watching and imitating. That was a great quality. Today, we look for everything, we want coaches. But to actually watch, imitate and learn is a quality which is very, very critical. Then imagine when kids go out, 4 of them get together, the kind of team building it does, communication skills, the things to actually work in a team. You make two leaders following a leader or leading a team or to follow the rules or the pressure in your gully cricket matches is so much in life. There's so many things which we learn even from a simple, unstructured, free play. I think it is very, very critical that we should not undervalue sport in our life. We should not undervalue why we play. One of the benefits of sport is that we win medals, but that is a very small portion. If any kid plays sport, he's already a winner because the neurons in his brain get better because of physical activity. It's proven, nothing else does. Physical activity builds neurons. He's going to go stronger physically, mentally stronger, healthier, happier. I don't know how many things in life are useful as subjects when you grow up, but your ability to move and be physical and active will definitely be useful all your life. I think sport has far more value than what we give, and I urge all of you to start investing in sport, not to become champions. If you become, well and good, fantastic, but I think the benefits of sport are far more than medals. And only if your kid, if each one of those students, I think, will go out there and play and be as fast as you can, jump as high as you can, throw as far as you can, and explore the boundaries of your physical being, then you can at least think of becoming a visionary on the mental side. I think it's very, very important that you explore the boundaries of your physical being and grow to your full potential. I urge all of you to invest in sport. All the kids out there, put the mobiles down and go out and play. Go out and lift weights. Go out and run fast. Go out and play something. It has far greater value than anything else which you can do at this moment of time. I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much for having me, and a very happy Independence Day to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Virika, please propose the vote of thanks. Virika?
Yes, sir. Thankfulness is the beginning of gratitude, and gratitude is the completion of thankfulness. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Virika of grade 10th, have the proud privilege of proposing the vote of thanks. First and foremost, on behalf of the entire Sapphire family, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Pulela Gopichand. We are absolutely delighted and honored to have you with us today on this solemn occasion, the 15th of August. Thank you, sir, for being with us here and influencing us by your inspiring words and your journey. Also, I would like to thank everyone for joining this meeting, the parents and the guardians. Thank you everyone for being here today with us. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.